Hey, my name is Dan and I used to work at the biggest dealership in the country, and now I teach people and fine folks like yourself how not to get fucked when buying a car. Now in this video I want to talk about Subarus and my passionate hate for them and why you should stay away from them unless you have a money tree. So I want to start off with this absolutely amazing article that I found. It's called "The Truth About Subaru's Head Gasket Problems." And the first three words in the article are "Subarus are amazing." That's like me inviting you to Venezuela for vacation, except if you don't get robbed, killed, raped, have your organs stolen, poisoned, die of starvation or diarrhea, or simply get bitten by a deadly mosquito, Venezuela is great. If your Subaru doesn't blow a head gasket at 60, 70, or 80, or 90,000 miles, Subarus are great. Unless you're prepared to pay $3,000 or more for head gaskets replacement every 80 to 90,000 miles, Subarus are great. Now, Subaru engine has two problems. First, it's the design. And second, the design of the actual cylinder. So I'm going to talk about cylinders first. So you have a cylinder in a regular car like this. It's an inline or V configuration. In Subaru, it's a boxster engine that cylinders are horizontal. That means pistons are moving like this, and that's why it's called a boxster, because it looks like you're boxing or the engine is boxing. So here's the biggest problem with their engine: closed deck, semi-closed deck, and open deck. So in a closed deck, there's a cylinder and it's connected on many points around the cylinder to the wall of the engine. In a semi-closed deck, you remove these connections and you put coolant in there. So the cylinder is getting cooled and it functions better. In an open deck, you remove even more connections and you put even more coolant in there. And here's the coolest part. Because you remove connections with immense pressure, with the very high speed of the piston going up or down, or in this case, horizontally, in and outwards, and thermal expansion and cooling once the engine is off, especially in wintertime, head gaskets are getting eroded by coolant that's leaking in there. This wouldn't be a problem if the engine and the cylinders were vertical like this, not like this. So this is one of the problems with the engine. A second problem with the engine is, I'm gonna let an independent mechanic tell you about it, because he's actually working on this engine. And I found this video online. I don't know the guy, we're not affiliated or anything like that. He just making videos about repairing cars. So he's working on a Subaru engine. He's gonna talk about what the problem is, how much it's gonna be to fix it, and how long it's going to take to fix it. So if you have a Subaru, or if you're thinking about buying a Subaru, or if your Subaru is coming up to over 70,000 miles, this is definitely for you.
Good morning, I'm Saul Reisman, and we're here to talk about common Subaru head gasket failures this morning. Sitting in front of me is an EJ25, commonly found in most every Subaru sold in North America. We currently have this engine halfway disassembled. One cylinder head is still on the vehicle, and the other's been removed so we can show this common failure. Over on the side of the engine where the head gasket physically sits onto the block, because this is a horizontally opposed engine and the cylinders stick sideways, there's constant pressure through the coolant jackets right on this ridge against the gasket itself. And this is where they'll commonly fail. If we look closely on this inner edge, we can actually see built up carbon deposits right here on this lower edge that end as they go further up. This cylinder head gasket was leaking directly on number 3. Number 1 had just barely begun to wear at the bottom of the gasket itself and hadn't leaked yet. As a result, we physically disassemble the engine, remove the cylinder heads from it, and then send them directly to a machinist to have them checked to make sure they're within a 10,000th of an inch of specification before we attempt to reseal the system and reassemble the engine before placing it back into the vehicle and getting it back on the road. These are the pieces and parts of this Subaru that needed to be disassembled in order for the engine to be removed. That in and of itself is about a 4 to 5 hour task. Then to disassemble the engine is another 6-hour labor job. In this case, total time involved of the vehicle to disassemble, repair, reassemble is 20 to 24 labor hours. Oftentimes in these situations, it doesn't necessarily cost Justify to repair the vehicle. In the case of this '04 Subaru Forester, the vehicle has a value of about $5,500. The repairs into it cost about $3,000, and the repairs take 2 to 3 weeks. Does it justify the cost of the repairs? In my personal opinion, I inform our client that it's really on the fence. It's borderline as to whether or not it's worth their time invested interest.
Did that video make any sense? All right, now let's dive into this amazing post that I found on forum. This guy has 2007 Subaru Outback with 150,000 miles that needs second head gasket replacement. Not the first one, second one. How many Hondas, Toyotas, Nissans, Ford, Chevys, Dodges do you know that need a second head gasket replacement at 150,000 miles? Typically, that's when you do your first head gasket replacement. On Subaru, that's your second one. It could be a third one in some cases. So it blows my mind that this guy didn't learn a lesson in first 85,000 miles. He kept the car, now he's doing it again. Now look at the prices. He's going to independent mechanics. He's not even going to the most expensive place to fix the car, which is a dealership. He's going to inexpensive mechanics. And he's getting charged between $3,200 and $3,500. Now, some people may say that this problem is only plaguing Subarus from 1999 to 2010 or 2011. Really? So, this problem magically disappeared. The engine stayed the same. They tweaked a couple of things here and there, but you know, no amount of ketchup on a shit sandwich is gonna make it a hamburger. They changed like 1% of the engine, and they're expecting to get a different result. It's still a boxster engine. The gravity still affects it the same way. There is still this shit semi-closed or open deck design, which makes the cylinders move and tolerances get fucked up very quickly. And if you know anything about engineering and tolerances, if you're off by 30 seconds of an inch, that's like nail thickness. If you're off that much in the engine is fucked. I mean, it's gone. So how is Subaru planning to fix this problem with not replacing the engine? The whole engine is fucked. No other reputable car manufacturer is using this engine. Porsche is using this engine, but the only reason they're using the engine is because they have a $150,000 car with a bunch of wannabes that can afford to replace an engine for $50,000 or $60,000, or do a head gasket job that's gonna cost them $20,000 or $30,000. Yeah, that's the prices you get with Porsche. I was just curious, how many cars did Subaru sell in the last 18 years, from 2000 to 2018? Looks like it was 5.8 million cars. There's actually 2 websites where you can find this information, and both websites are within like 20 cars from each other. So the numbers are very credible. So I did the math. I added all these numbers up, and I decided to do some more math, because why not? Let's say that only 80% of the cars had a problem. In real world, it's about 95 to 98% of cars that are having this issue, and the other 3% are just lucky. I don't know, maybe they got some fairy dust on them that doesn't make them blow their head gaskets at 80,000 miles. Now, let's say only 80% of these cars are fucked up, okay? That's gonna be 4.6 million cars. Now, let's say only half of those cars are gonna get taken to the shop, with the dealership shop. Let's say half of the other cars are gonna get fixed anywhere else. Let's say Subaru is gonna make only 50% of the money that there is to be made from these head gaskets being blown up. That's 2.3 million cars. 2.3 million times $3,000 for each head gasket job. I'm not even counting extra repairs that will have to be done. This is just a head gasket job replacement. 3,000 multiplied by 2.3 million, that's 7 billion, 22,462,400. I mean, I literally had to, that is a huge number. That's how much money Subaru has made in the last 18 years from head gaskets. And that's considering that head gaskets needed to be replaced only once. Imagine if somebody, like 10 or 20% of people, go in there for a second head gasket replacement. How much money are they making? A shit ton of money. Why would Subaru replace their shit engine? They had this problem for 30 years. 30 years. They haven't fixed this problem in the last 30 years. Why would they fix it now? Why would Subaru fix this now? And that is why I absolutely hate Subaru. And in my opinion, it is one of the worst cars that you can buy because it is designed to fail. Many car manufacturers had shit engines, shit transmissions. Like, car manufacturers make mistakes, okay? Once you're moving forward in a direction, like an engineering direction that nobody has gone before, you're gonna fuck up. That's just gonna happen, okay? But once you create a shit product and sell it for 30 years, and you're refusing to fix it, that just tells me this is on purpose and Subaru is just enjoying the money that they're making off of it. That's it. So, I think I'm done here. If you're still thinking about buying Subaru, I don't think any amount of prayers are gonna help, so I'm not even gonna try. But this is Dan with 60 Minute Car. I'm signing out and I'll see you on the internet.